Hi, today I want to show you how you can properly recolor your portals in Portal 2. This will work for single player and co-op and is not for the community edition. In the community edition you can actually just use console variables to change your portal colors, but in baseline Portal 2 that's a bit more difficult and notoriously annoying, and a lot of the old methods also break compatibility with co-op, like break your crosshair in co-op and whatnot. So I did the most reasonable thing I could think of. I spent 25 hours of my life reverse engineering the client and constructing a bytecode patch for Linux and Windows to actually patch the stuff like the crosshair colors and the particle colors, because you could normally not just edit them. And after I did that, I wrote a little tool that will automatically generate textures for you and also patch the client for you so that you can just easily change your colors. I will just quickly show you how you can set this up for yourself. Don't be scared that I'm doing this now on Linux, but the steps for Windows and Linux are more or less the same. The first thing you have to ensure for the tool to work is that you have at least Python 3.10 or newer installed. For Windows, you should just grab probably the newest stable release from the download page here and install it. If you don't have a Python version that's newer than that installed, please don't use the one from the Microsoft Store, because that one usually causes problems with paths and whatnot. Just make sure you have the standard clean installed. And on most Linux distros, you should have Python pre-installed. Just make sure that you also have like a version that's Python 3.10 or newer. But yeah, I won't go into the details of how you can install Python. There are enough guides out there and it's not too hard. After you grabbed yourself Python, you should head down in the description to the GitHub I linked. This is my GitHub, where I posted the Portal 2 color kit. This is how I named this tool. And then you just want to go to the releases and just grab the newest release, the zip file here, and download it. Then you just need to navigate to your Portal 2 folder, which the easiest way to do that is to just go on Steam onto Portal 2, click the gears icon, go to Manage, browse local files, and this will just open your Portal 2 folder. And then you just want to unzip this zip file and drag the color kit folder into this folder. It's important that you put it in the Portal 2 folder, not the lowercase Portal 2 folder that's located inside here. It has to be this folder that also contains the game executable. Since I've already installed it, I'm not gonna drag it in here. So then you just want to put it in here. Now you need to allocate a DLC folder for it. Generally, if you have nothing installed, you only will have up to Portal 2 DLC 2 as a folder. And if you want to install bmod or are using bmod, that will usually reserve DLC 3. Depending on how many DLC folders you have, just make sure that you create a new empty one. I chose DLC 4, so just make a new folder. In this case, I made a new folder, DLC 5. And it shouldn't have any content in it, so it's important that you choose a DLC folder with no other content. Then you go into the color kit folder. And then the only thing you have to do is locate the options file, double click that, open it with the text editor of your liking. It can even be standard notepad or whatever. And here you can control everything. Down here, set this number to the DLC folder you created. In my case, this was 5. And then you can set all the colors in here you want. You can, as the comment states here, you can write for example, default, then it will just use the base game color for that slot. You could also write it as an RGB value, something like this, if you separate it by commas, or just as a hex color value, like I did here. The tool will recognize all of these things. Just make sure for hex values that you don't have a leading hashtag. Yeah. And then when you set this up, once you're happy with your changes, on Windows you just have to run the apply bat. On Linux you just have to run the apply file. If it for whatever reason on Linux is not executable, just run chmod +x apply, and this will flag this file as an executable, and then you should be able to run it as a program. Run it, it will do its magic. The first time it will run, it will take a little bit longer for it to do its thing, because it will have to analyze your client, and then it will patch the client. It will also check for Windows and Linux versions, so the client SO and DLL, because, for example, I'm here on Linux and I have both game version installed, so it will patch it for both game versions. And every time you make a change to the config, to the colors, you have to re-execute the apply file or the apply bat respectively on Windows, and it will just patch all of that for you. And then the only thing you have to do is check out if it worked in the game. And that's how the color kit works. One thing I forgot to mention is that after a game update, you also always have to reapply the color kit, because the game update will unpatch the client again, so it needs to be repatched. There's also a chance that this might break in a future game update. I mean, Portal 2 updates are now relatively uncommon these days, and if there's an update, it's usually just a small thing, so it's very unlikely that it will break the color kit in its entirety, but you will definitely always have to reapply after a game update. And yeah, I hope you find this tool helpful, and you can now happily recolor your portals to whatever dream color you want. You also probably saw there are the options in the config file for co-op, so you can also recolor your co-op portals without any issues. There's one minor weird quirk that's not fixable. For whatever reason, the game uses the function that's used for determining the portal crosshair colors for the ping tool in co-op. So the ping tool will actually have the colors that you set for your single player portals. That's just a quirk of the game, but yeah, it's nothing too major. If you have any more questions or something along those lines, feel free to write a comment and ask about it. And if you found this helpful, I would of course also appreciate if you like and subscribe. But yeah, in the future I might also do some other things on this channel related to Portal 2, maybe even just some smaller Portal 2 Let's Plays or something like that. But currently I'm relatively busy and also working on like a way more complex general mod for Portal 2. That will also be a relatively helpful tool, hopefully, for a lot of people. But I will say more about that once it's ready and once I released it. So, happy portaling, and see you in the next one.